Hi there, welcome to the LNU show. This is your host Priya, and today's topic is a fun one. I was listening to Dr. Mo Goddard on a podcast sometime late last year, and he mentioned that he themes every year of his life. And then he went on to say that his theme for 2023 was flow. And what he meant by that was he just decided to go with the flow that year. Whatever came his way, he just went with it. I believe he was writing a book and he was on book tours and he was just saying yes to, wherever the book tour took him, and he was living that nomadic life. I thought that that was a brilliant idea and I really wanted to try it out and see if that made a difference in the way I spend my year. But before we get into that topic, real quick, if you haven't liked or subscribed to the channel, please do that so you don't miss any update from me when I upload a new episode, which is every Sunday. It's a teeny tiny favor that I ask for. It takes less than 2 seconds of your time, but it does a huge favor for me. If and only if you would want to go an extra step, I would love to get feedback from you. So please share that with me via comments or get into my DMs on Instagram or TikTok at the LNU show. You can find them in the show notes, so you don't have to go very far to find me. This podcast is where I share my experiences and leave you all with tips and tools to optimize your life on topics ranging from mindfulness, spirituality, building habits that help with navigating a busy career, and creating your version of your dream life. All right, that's all the housekeeping items. Now let's get right in. So, I started my year, my 2024, as a year of yeses, a year of no more to what ifs. I promised myself to not overthink when there was an opportunity in front of me and just try to be a yes as much as possible. I'm sure that you all have things in mind that you have been wanting to do or try, but kind of suppressed that idea or that voice in you saying, I'll do it later, or now is not the right time, or whatever your version of that voice is. I'm positive that we all have that voice. I certainly do. I always knew deep down that I don't want to live my life as a life of regrets. When I'm on my deathbed, I don't want to regret about the way I lived my life. I want to live many lifetimes in this one life that I have on the earth. But here is a big question. What was I really doing about it? Nothing. So I wanted to make this year about changing that for me. Okay, so before we get into my experience of saying more yeses and how I did that, I want to share like 5 experiences that I said yes to this year, and that made me so proud. And I'm so happy that I said yes to these things. Number one is definitely the Dr. Joe Dispenza week long retreat. I had been wanting to go to that retreat for years, but it became one of those things where, I used to be like, it will happen when the time is right, or it's too expensive right now. It's a big time commitment. I would say things like, I can't even sit in a meditation for 30 minutes. I'm not ready for this thing. So all of those voices in me stopped me from saying yes to it. But then I realized that no one makes the time right for you but you yourself. So I just made the impulse decision when I saw that Dr. Joe was coming to Dallas for his retreat, and I just booked it. And it was life changing. And I have a whole episode about it, so I won't go into the details of the retreat, but that was a big one this year. Number two definitely has to be a solo travel. This has been on my bucket list for a long time. And last year, I just happened to be in Barcelona for 3 days by myself, and I absolutely loved it. It was not a planned solo trip, but there was just a 3 day window where I was, by myself in Barcelona. And I absolutely enjoyed every minute of it. So I just said yes to, the idea of traveling international by myself. And I booked my travel. It's happening in December. I'm going to be in Lisbon for 10 days by myself. And I am really looking forward to it. The third big yes, which I really should have been the first one, is starting this podcast. Just saying yes to doing it was a big one for me. People who really know me know that I cannot shut up about podcasts, and I'm like really obsessed with listening to podcasts and sharing them with my friends and family, and how badly I wanted to start one. That part, not many people know because I was insecure and I was nervous about it. But I still just said yes to it. And I just committed to recording 20 episodes and, just see if I enjoy it and if it was really for me. And I'm just so happy that I did that. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I could be doing other things that are more fun, more social, and more, rewarding than preparing for this podcast and putting myself in this uncomfortable position where I record and I share my personal life with you all. But it's so rewarding at the same time. And I don't have that. But what if I tried emotion around starting a podcast anymore? And I feel great about it. So that is a big one too. Um, Another example that comes to mind is a solo hike that I did in the middle of nowhere in Peru. I was in Peru in July and I hiked this mountain, a beautiful, beautiful rainbow mountain, which was at an elevation of more than 5,000 square meters above sea level. And I'm not a hiker, so this was a big deal for me. It may sound like small thing, but it was a very big thing for me at that time. And people who do this hike, they prepare for months. And I went there with no preparation, with no expectations. I was supposed to do it with a friend of mine who I went to Peru with, but she twisted her ankle a day before in Machu Picchu, and she was like, dude, I'm out. I can't hike this mountain. And that made me feel nervous about me going by myself. I didn't speak the language, I didn't have a local phone service. I was not prepared for a hike myself. And the only reason why I said yes to that experience was because I was doing it with my friend. And none of that was happening. So there was a voice inside me that said, but maybe you should just not go. What if my friend needs me? Like, she just twisted her ankle. What if she needs me, while I'm gone? So I had all the reasons to not go, but I showed up. I showed up at the pickup time for that experience, which was 3 in the morning. I fought the demons inside me. I fought those voices that were like, no, Priya, just sleep in and just have another slow morning. But no, I did it, and it was so worth it. I was dying from inside, in all honesty. I wanted to quit so many times midway during that hike. There were other options, like people could pay and be on a mule and, just be there in 5 minutes at the top of the mountain. Or there were bikes that, would drop you midway to that mountain. And I wanted to, go for those options, but I just kept going one step at a time and made it to the top by myself. And the views were so amazing. It was so worth it. I would definitely recommend a solo hike, a solo travel. I mean, I was not ready for it physically. My heart was in my throat. And all the videos from that hike that I have are so funny because I'm definitely talking, or in my head, I think I was talking, but all I can hear in those videos now is me breathing so heavily. It's funny, but it was not at that time. But I'm still very happy that I did that. All right, the fifth one and the last one that comes to mind is the most recent one, and that is that I ran a 5K. When I say I ran, I walked a part of it, but I finished the run. So I walk my dog, Zeke, on this trail called the Katy Trail twice a day. And 2 months ago, there were flyers all around on the trail about this 5K happening in Dallas. I also saw these ads on the highways, and it was everywhere on IG. It also made it to my Instagram ads. And I don't know what it was exactly, but I heard a voice that said, Priya, just do it. Like, just try. At least you'll know that you really don't like running. That's the worst case, right? And I already knew that I'm not a runner. I never enjoyed running in my whole life, ever. But I just trusted that voice and I was like, okay, I'll sign up, but I definitely was not going to do it alone. My only mission after I signed up was to find a running partner. I asked my brother and my sister in law, and they were like, we're unsure. We'll see. Don't wait for us. And then I asked someone at my yoga class, and she said that she won't be in town that week. And so I asked many people until another friend of mine was like, okay, I'll go. I'll try this. And the day of the run, which was 3 days ago, I woke up to a text from my friend saying she got her period and she didn't feel like running, so she was out. I took it as a sign. I was like, I only promised myself to run this 5K if I was doing it with someone. So maybe I don't have to. Maybe I can just be home. Then I reminded myself that this year was the year of yeses and I need to show up. And I did. And I ran and I finished it. And I was very happy that I did. And you know what was the highlight of that run? They gave me a medal. Growing up, I had a ton of certificates, those, paper cardboardy certificates, but I never had a medal ever in my life. And my brother, on the other side, was just on a mission of collecting medals. Like he would just show up to a debate or to a math competition or a sport, and he would come back with a medal. And that just never happened with me. And I always grew up thinking I was just maybe not cut out for it. I used to be just so jealous of him. But 3 days ago, when I finished that race and I got that medal, I was like, okay, that inner child in me feels very validated right now. It made me very, very happy. So it's a long way to say that, you know, say more yeses just is very rewarding. There are so many more examples from this year that, make me feel so grateful for saying a yes to more opportunities. This made my year so much more complete and fulfilling already. And it's been a hard year. Like people who know me personally know that I've struggled earlier this year with multiple things in my personal life. But I completely turned it around and I'm so proud of myself for doing that. And, there's still a whole quarter left, more than a quarter left for this year for me to add to that list. And I'm certainly doing that. I've gained so much confidence just by putting myself out there in situations where I know that a previous version of me would run away from. I used to really look down upon dating apps, but then came around to try them out. And if not a relationship, they really gave me a ton of confidence to, have and hold a conversation with a stranger. This needs a whole episode in itself, my experience of being on dating apps, but just trying to say that you never know what's on the other side of a yes. So, and you will not know until you say that yes and you actually take actions to do it. I also learned so much about myself. I step out of my comfort zone, be it traveling alone, be it hiking alone, be it moving to a new city. It's a whole journey of self discovery, to say the least. And the unexpected connections that I ended up making in this whole process is just a cherry on the top. And here is a big one: you change fear into excitement. I personally used to be terrified of putting myself out there in the way that I am right now on social media, recording podcasts and sharing stories from my personal life. That's not me. It does not come naturally to me. I remember recording the first episode and the second episode, and then there are some episodes that never made it to the podcast. And I was nervous. But now I'm excited. Every weekend, I feel that excitement of deciding on a topic and recording the podcast and just looking at the analytics after I launch it and just seeing how many people commented on it, liked it, listened to it, how long they listened to it. So there's now an excitement towards recording this podcast. And it's really powerful to saying yes to something that a previous version of you would not have said yes to and committing to it. And I get it. I understand that it's not the easiest thing to start being more open to things that you were just turning away from before. So, here are a few things that really helped me when it comes to being more positive around things that a previous version of me would not be as open or positive. The first thing that comes to mind is understanding what I want to do more of. So, for example, traveling or anything fitness related or personal growth related, for me, are the top three things that I instantly know in my gut that I want to do more of. So, just knowing those top three things made it so much easier for me to spot those opportunities and just go with the flow, just be more yes to those particular opportunities. And anything that did not fall in that category was probably up for question, like, do I really want to do it? But when it came to traveling or anything fitness, when it came to traveling, anything fitness related, signing up for opportunities like be it a run or hot yoga, which I had never done in my life before, or yoga under the sun or ice plunge, all of those opportunities, because I knew that I wanted to do more of, I was an instant yes. And that made it so easy for me. The second thing is recognizing your inner critique. That voice which loves to say no, that voice that pushes you to continue staying in your comfort zone. Just identify that voice, just start to become friends with it, start to recognize it, and then tame it. Tame it like an animal. Ask it to sit and ask it to stay. And if that's too hard, I get it. It's not easy and it does not come naturally right away. So have an accountability partner. Always, have that one person in your life that you really trust with your goals and share them with your accountability partner and have them hold you accountable to keep your promise. We are all humans. We get lazy and you just need that one friend who would not shy away from giving you that little push or that little nudge that we all need. And my last tip is that start small. Just don't go for the big thing right away. I'm not discouraging you when I say that, but taking smaller steps towards your North Star or your bigger goal always helps in making the journey more pleasurable, more enjoyable, and more rewarding. So look for those low-hanging fruits before you go for the top. Well, I hope that my journey of this year helped you. Inspire is a big word. I'm not saying that I'm inspirational in any way, shape, or form, but I hope that it did inspire you to say at least one yes in 2024. We have more than 3 months left, my friends. So make the most out of it. And when you do, drop into my DMs and let me know what you ended up saying yes to and how it made you feel. That will make me so, so happy. So please do that. That's all I had for today. I hope you all liked it. Reminder, if you haven't subscribed to my show on Apple or Spotify, please do so. It will definitely be the highlight of my weekend. Thank you in advance, you all lovely, lovely people. I hope that you all have an amazing weekend and you have the best week ahead. I'll come back next weekend with another episode. Till then, take care. Bye.